Our last panelist before we go to Q&A is Melanie Gaunt, and she has an MA in Organizational Communications, is a resident of long-term care facility for the last 9 years, is involved with Dalhousie research study about adults with physical disabilities, and is an advocate for adults under 65, which we've now learned are called young adults, with physical disabilities. So, Melanie, what do you feel are the drawbacks of living in a long-term care facility?
Well, before I start, I should tell you that although these experiences are going to sound like they're coming from me, they're not just from me. They're from many of us. It's not about where someone lives. It's not about their facility, what is offered. It's not about their situation. It's about long-term care policies and protocol. It's important to remember that these issues are, I guess, positive. We'll let you know about them. And they're negative, and we can certainly talk about that. I may not be severely disabled, but I am disabled enough that I've had to live in long-term care since the age of 39 in 2010. I've experienced and witnessed enough that in 2014, Vicki and I started an advocacy group representing the physically disabled living in long-term care. Most of the problems occur at every facility, if not every, most. It's not about any of us specifically, but we are we'd like to look at solutions rather than problems for those of us who have to live in facilities. Sorry. There's a lot of odds here. My living situation is not ideal. It's certainly not how I would choose to live. It affects me. It affects my social life, my physical health, and definitely my mental health. I've basically been dropped into a facility where I'm surrounded by people twice my age, increasingly people with dementia, behavioral issues, or just plain old age. Now, let's get specific. And I'm going to tell you some of the drawbacks about living in a facility. Let's talk about food. Although a facility is required to feed you like you would eat at home, in reality, that's a very difficult thing for them to do. For instance, I'm gluten-free, I'm dairy-free, I'm beef-free. I choose to eat natural, and I choose to eat fresh and healthy. I have to specially order fruit plates for snack time because snacks are almost always baked goods. Special events or menus don't always take my dietary concerns into account. Why? Because budget cuts tend to be felt by food services, therefore the residents, immediately or very shortly after. Do I like canned beans? Green beans from World War I? No, but after 9 years, a girl gets hungry. Today's seniors have small appetites. They like comfort food. Eating for their health is not their priority. They're using canned food, preserves, carbohydrates, and for whatever reason, ice cream, as often as possible. Let them eat cake, I say. I think they've earned it. But these days, we have larger appetites, and we want flavor, and we want fresh, and we want choice. Comfort food or clean food. There unfortunately isn't much of a choice, no matter how much I don't want dessert. after lunch or supper, Nova Scotia dinner. But I would like to maybe have an apple later. And my supper time is not at 4:30, my nap time is. Someone with physical disability may need to have their food prepared, and most likely fed. I know that sounds like very animalistic and basic, but that's what a lot of the time it turns out to be, despite the efforts of the staff and the organization. I've seen hot food put in front of people, then left there until after everyone else is served, and someone can feed them. People are left there looking at the table, smelling their food, seeing their food just inches from their mouths. Isn't it an ancient torture method? I mean, to make things worse, when they do finally get fed, their food is usually cold. Let's talk about hygiene. Now, most facilities bathe their residents once a week. I have one thing to say to that. Two. I had to make a special request to have more than one bath or shower a week. Why? Because MS gets UTIs easily. I can't go a full week without a shower or a bath, or I'll get an infection. I should think that if someone has a severe physical disability, they need to be bathed more than once a week. A daily wipe down is simply not good enough. It's not realistic. Instead of quickly toweling everyone down for twice a day, why don't they take that time, perhaps, to give a second bath to the residents? It would increase the good health, it would increase their quality of life, their dignity, and after all, that's what we all want. Would you be okay with one bath a week? Would you be okay if your parent or your child got one bath once a week?
One more minute.
Sure. This brings me to a very important issue, staff to resident ratio. Quality of life, dignity, hygiene, and care of 13 residents, all with different individual needs. That requires way more labor than the government unrealistically allots. The labor allotted for one person is not for one person, but for 12 people. And it works out on average, I think, about 13 hours a week per individual. Is that enough to you? It's not to me. For someone living in long-term care, especially someone with a severe physical disability, maintaining a normal life is pretty much impossible. The type of programming isn't anything for myself that I typically want to do. What is socially acceptable today is not socially always acceptable to seniors. I swear it's not acceptable. If I've had a bad day and I want to drop an F-bomb in my own home, I'm going to do it. Fashion? Well, my hemlines are too high and my necklines are too low. My loose isn't loose enough. My tight is way too tight. Modesty is standard policy. And seasonal clothing, if any one of you needs a Christmas sweater.
I'm going to get you to stop there and go to questions. Thank
you. Actually, it's stuck there, so.
Okay.